Alice is among the top 3% of financial advisors in the world. She's a professional member of the National Speakers Association, and today she's going to share some of her techniques with us. Now, we believe in transferable techniques at WCL. So you may be thinking, I'm not cold calling, I'm not selling, but the whole idea is how can you take some of these incredible secrets that Alice has developed and nurtured and transfer them to what you do every day, building your network in your workplace or outside of your workplace. So today she's going to share her techniques on the power of your own network, the process to stay in contact with the key people in your network, and how to use 5% of your time to nurture that network and advance your career and your business. So with that, please join me in welcoming Alice. And we're so excited, Alice, to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Sue. Well, I'll take you back to where I was born. It was in Hong Kong. I was born to a tiger mother. Hope everybody knows who's a tiger mom. They want the best for you, but they're very strict. They always hold a bar. Whenever you can hit the bar, they raise the bar again. It is crazy for many young and people who are born in United States, because we believe in telling children, you know, you did really well, right? If you got a B, it's an Asian D. So that's how my tiger mom is treating me. My parents believe that I had more potential than just finishing high school and work, because I couldn't enter the two universities in Hong Kong, sitting through something similar to a SAT test. The entrance ratio is 99-1. So obviously I'm in the good 99%. So they decided to send me to London and let me finish my first degree. I'm the first graduate in my generation from college. So you also see Tokyo in the slide. My boyfriend, who did all my homework in college and get me graduated with a computer science degree, was relocated by a high-tech company to Tokyo to open a branch there. So there we spent about 4 years. This one night, my introverted, lovely husband came home in our Tokyo home and gotten very excited. Have you seen an introverted person very excited? Very well. But he said, I got it, I got it, I got it. I said, honey, what did you get? And he said, the project I was looking forward to handle is on my lap. It's a dream come true. I said, great, congratulations. And then he said, well, so shall we just do this? I said, well, will you do this? He said, yeah, but there is a change we need to make. I said, what's that? Well, we have to move from Tokyo to Portland, Oregon. So I asked, where's Portland? Silent, because he's processing. He said, wait, sleepless in Seattle. I said, well, Seattle, Portland, where are we heading? Oh, Seattle is only 3 hours south by driving. 3 hours north by driving from Portland. And then I said, whatever, because I didn't have a driver's license. I don't drive. I mean, let's go. So within a month, on Veterans Day 1994, we were in Portland, Oregon. I came in with a dependent on a work visa. That means that I could not work, but I'm legally okay to stay here with my family, which is my only family, my husband here. Of course, the next day he went to work, and he worked about 180 days away from me every year. So high-tech company are great in providing benefits and also, but don't feel that, you know, you got something for nothing. He's working a lot. So I didn't anticipate this. This is where I felt I was in the situation. I had no job, no network, no family, no friends. But his company was super great in organizing and applying for green card or residentship for us. So I also took time to went back to college, studied my master's degree. So as I was graduating from college, a financial company came recruiting in the campus. And the rest is history. So the first day I walked into the John Hancock office is June 20th, year 2000. Because I have a network of 0, I had to cold call for business as an advisor, 200 calls a day in the morning, set 2 meetings to meet with in the afternoon or evening, qualify 4 people that are willing to have a conversation with me about my products and my services. And after 20,000, 25,000 calls in the first year, at the end of 2000, I made $2,000. Wait, the second year, I have better news. I made $8,000. The third year, I was in my $30,000 level. So I was pretty proud. Cold calling work. Remember, I came from 2000 to 30,000. I'm in a exponential growth trajectory. I'm on the way to success. So I cannot help but dream that I double my $30,000 to $60,000 of income. My manager told me when I first started, your activities will drive your results. Okay, so let's figure out activities. 200 calls if I made 400 calls instead of 200. If I work 120 hours a week instead of 60 hours, I can get there, doubling my $30,000. I got a game plan figured out. What's wrong with this?
Nuts.
Well, everybody has 168 hours in a week. You do, I do. So it's impossible. It's a good plan, but impossible humanly. So I was very discouraged, very disappointed, very upset that my income is capped or will forever be capped at $30,000. Well, I look around in my 40 advisor office. The very top producer advisors are $1 million round table, top of the table producers. There I knew that they make 20 to 30 times what I made. And yet their life looks really enjoyable. They came into the office, conduct a few meetings with clients, check in with their assistants or secretary, then they went to lunch. Sometimes they never came back after lunch. What an easy life in my eyes. Of course, there's hard work there, but I could only see the easy life from this point. So they must have a secret sauce that I don't know. So I marched to the office and asked, what's your secret? You know what they say? Referrals. We do not do business by cold calling. We do business by referral. But more importantly is keeping at the top of mind at your referral partners, showing up at the radars often enough without being a pest, so that they remember you clearly when they have a referral. I'm very grateful and thankful they told me what. But what's my process, right? How do you go get them?
Right.
Pick up the phone and call people. That's all I know. 200 calls in the morning. Oh, well. There I find out that my network is going to be my success. So I started there without knowing the network is important, starting to build good relationship with the people that I know and I trust, and we can refer, we have ability to refer people, business back and forth. For all the audience here, you've made it so far here, whether you need to hunt for business, build your business, or you just climbing the corporate ladder. But how are you going to reach your next goal? If you are aspire to achieve career advancement, happiness at work, making a difference in your life, your family's life, and the people around, the lives of the people around you, and perhaps making more income, enjoying more home work-life balance, this conversation is for you. I think it's applicable. Again, your network is your prosperity. But really, how do I do that? So every year, at the beginning of the year, I will have a list of 10 people that I want to focus on giving and paying forward to. I call them my center of influence. So these are people who has given me a lot of support. It could be referrals, it could be not a lot of support. They're always there, care for me last year. These also could be people that I admire, but I didn't have a chance to talk with them. Somebody like Sue. So a funny story about Sue, when I first was introduced to her, briefly, because it was probably 2 to 3 years before I spoke at WCL. And to me, I thought Sue has a very confident and giant personality, this big. I've never thought I could be a friend with her, never, because she looks so successful right there.
I don't know.
As I start to put her in my mini list, reaching out and touching her, I find out that Sue is just another professional career woman who's passionate about women, just like me. So that's our common ground. So going back to this list of center of influence, so it could be anyone who has helped you, or you have admiration for them, you want to find out more, maybe somebody in your organization who potentially be a sponsor and mentor to you. It could be a man, it could be a woman, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Alice, I have a question on this, and a question for our audience as well, I guess. When you first told me about this, I was enamored with the whole idea, because I've always felt that networking was one of my weaknesses as I was going through my career. I wanted to get work done. I didn't want to stop and take time, so I thought, to network. So when you talked to me about this, like I said, I was mesmerized. So I'm curious from the audience, we have a poll here. I would love to know if they have a list. Maybe I'm the only person in the world that didn't get this. I'd love to know if they had a list. So if we could go ahead and launch that poll to the audience, you can click on the right answer here, just click on it, and this will go down. And then we'll have a sense at the end of this, if you guys have lists, if you have 1 to 3 people, 10 people, 5 people on your list, let's see what we've got going as a group of professionals.
Thank you, Sue. So allow me to continue. So this is one of the way that I tracked my touch to my center of influence. So I start with 10 people every year. So this is half of the list looks like to you, right in front of you. And I decided to touch them periodically. So let's talk about what's the touch. A touch is an action that I initiated from my end that is customized for this person in front of me. So it's not a blast of email of 500 people on a topic. No, it's specialized for you. So people who are on this list, every week I will look at the list for them. And then my goal is to touch them 4 times a month or weekly. And I figured that weekly touches to too often, I seem like a pest. Yearly touches, who are you, Alice? I don't remember you, right? So weekly, so far in the last 17 years, works for me. All right, so if you are on my list of top 10 center of influence, I'm gonna meet with you 4 times a year or every 90 days. Before I meet, I will just review my notes. So this is the time to pause. Take good notes in your meeting, but not only take good notes, but also have a system, whether it's a handwritten, notebook system or electronic system or CRM or some form of Evernote and such. We have a lot of tools out there. Make sure we can go back and review what we talked about last time, because 90 days is a long time. And then during the meeting, we not only do professional conversation, we also have personal update, because it's really sometimes a personal piece that help us be closely connected. I have a dog, you have a dog, that's the connection. Let's talk about that. I have a kid, you have a kid, let's talk about college. So those are the personal touches. Be a human being, not only always about business. At the end of the meeting, I would always make a promise or two. A promise is something that I will do, I have committed to do after this meeting and before the next meeting. And then we are all busy people. I don't want to leave this meeting by saying, oops, next 90 days is up. I have to set a meeting with Sue. So what I will do is quickly pull out my phone and said, Sue, let's find a time in the next 90 days, 3 months later. What works for you? Let's set it right here so that we save a lot of productivity time by going back and forth. I can do this day, I can do that day. And I got really, really crazily busy. I don't even have time to attend to Sue's email. That take care of that already, right there, productivity. All right. So then, remember I made 2 promises. Let me just click through here. So let's pretend I said, Sue, I'm gonna introduce you to 2 people. So what I did in the same night, I am a woman of my word. I will finish doing the email introduction, but wait. What is my best touch is weekly. So I just saw Sue today already. Let me just arrange this email to go out, or these 2 emails to go out in the next couple of weeks. And how do I do that? We all use Outlook or a Mac version of Outlook. Click on options on your top banner and then click on delay delivery. From then you can figure out or decide when to send out the email. So conveniently, I will do it 1 next week and 1 next week. Now 3 touch already in that month, believe it or not. All right. Then,
so Alice, I have a question here for the audience.
Sure.
You all might notice that you have a chat box at the bottom of your screen. And since we're in all different industries and are looking to reach different kinds of people, maybe we're looking, again, to reach people within our own company or a network like Alice is developing Way Out. What are some of the ways, some of the touch points you can think of that you can reach out and touch that audience? If you guys can use the chat box and list those in there, we're videotaping this. You can look at it afterwards and maybe even, read through that chat box again. Sharing ideas of how you can touch people besides emails, besides some of these things is something we'd love to hear from you about.
Thank you, Sue.
Thanks, Alice.
Yeah, so one of the way to touch is, make most of social media. So one of the things I love to do with my iPhone, or maybe you have an Android phone, same, right? It takes beautiful pictures. So Dana Clinton is one of my good friends, and we are great referral partners. She brought her beautiful young son to our office at the end of the year, delivering holiday gifts to us. So I asked for permission to take a picture of her and to post it on my favorite social media. Professionally, I only use LinkedIn. So the next day, I created a paragraph about how great Dana is, tag her, tag the organization we company in, and tag the people who should know about this. From that, there are 44 likes. The time I took a screenshot of this, can you believe it? And what happened, we might know that the power of social media. When somebody like, it will hit her network, it will hit my network. When there are 44 different likes, maybe first connection or second connection or third connection, who knows? Over time, we both exposed to a lot more people passively. So later on, when there is an introduction, somebody will say, Alice, I thought I met you. No, we have never met. But you have seen my post through the life journey with this person in front of us. So the power.
And Alice, we're seeing a few responses come in from the chat from everyone, so thank you. Just a few to surface to you. So many people are also using LinkedIn, and they're using that to highlight others' work or successes. They're sharing articles via email or social media. Alyssa just shared that she sent physical cards to her board of directors. And networking events, several professional groups that have regular contact. So these are all great ideas. Thanks everybody for sharing. Alice, is there a particular medium that you recommend kind of as you're starting out? because I do actually, I want to share the results of the poll right now because I think that might help you, and just it's probably interesting to everyone. It looks like the great majority of us either do not have a list or are somewhat inconsistent. How would you recommend that folks get started building out their list?
I like you to do a reflection, maybe take a 30 minutes reflection in the morning and think about who has been treating you really nicely last year, who has helped you out. Let's start with 1 to 3. It's hard to come up with 10, I know, at the beginning, but how about 1? How about 2? How about 3? Or who are the people in my organization? Let's pretend you just entered the organization. Your director is here. You have 2 levels and you always admire her or him. Who's that person, right? I want to be connected with him or her. So list them. And then later on, perhaps it's another conversation. If you reach out to me, I'll show you how the easiest way to reach out to somebody you don't know yet. They don't know you yet and have some success.
Start small. I love that. That sounds really great.
Awesome. So I'm going to close out the little box that you shown in front of me, and then I will continue keep going if that's okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So whoever said handwritten cards, you are brilliant. So I'm obsessive about my handwriting, and I love handwritten cards, and especially in the electronic age, your handwritten card is going to stand out from all the electronic communications, especially today. Everybody is staying at home, right? Except for some of our first responder. Thank you. I mean, the drivers, the people who get our business going, but many of us are staying home. It's a highlight of a day to get a humanly written, handwritten card. So I encourage you to do so. So it's a touch. Now, we're going to do a review of how to build strong relationship. Of course, the one-on-one meeting with your center of influence, social media hacking, perhaps inviting them to an event. Just like I have invited a few people to this event where I think that is appropriate to them, whether I host the event or somebody hosts. Let them know. Is a way to say that I care about you enough. Now look at this link or look at this event, join us. How about connecting them with some people that they should know? So yesterday I connected my marketing wonderful stage ready guru to Sue, because Sue said, I can't believe you did all this. I said, I didn't do it. I'm not as talented. I show up, but I have a marketing company who's helping me. And you connected Sue with Tiffany now. Mm-hmm. Hopefully Tiffany is in the room here. And of course, if we is a business a referral partner, sending referrals is important. But then what if you run out of things to do? Is that what I can't do all these, nothing is readily able to be done by me. How about calling? How about emailing? How about texting? Just say, I'm thinking of you, Kate. I hope you're okay. I'm thinking of you, Sue. I hope the stay-at-home thing does not mean too much isolation for you. What can I do? Or I hope you survived your mother-in-law visit last week. Not last week, because we can't do that. How about last month? There are many things we can be creative. In the last 4 weeks, I've had a lot of reflection, and here is my gut feeling. And would I be wrong? Sometimes I'm wrong, but I just have a gut feeling that when we come through and come out from COVID-19 healthcare crisis, because of the way that we are all adapting to do business, we're going to contact people, connect with people, and conduct business very differently. So I say it's even more important that we strengthen our network, because what if the world is changing and asking and more flexible for all of us to work from home? Your network is even more important because you're not going back to your office, perhaps, right? And still can get the same work done. So you said, you're thinking, Alice, I really like what you have to say, but I just don't have that much time. Here is my calendar. Let me show you my calendar. Every Tuesday morning, I use 30 minutes to look at my top 10 list and think about what I can give to them. whether it's a text message, to connecting them with wonderful person, to inviting them to an event, sending them an article that they should read, or noticing them, they have written something. I saw it, right? You're on the business journal. I saw it. Anything you can think of. In that 30 minutes, I will make a decision of how I can give and touch them. And I will touch them.
Now, Alice, you told me this was a standing date on your calendar, that you do it every single week, no matter what. That addresses some of the questions that our audience is bringing up, where they're wondering, oh my gosh, Alice, how do you have the time to do this? So I think that is one of the brilliant parts of this process that you've created.
And Alice, maybe you can, because this question came from Julie, and so how do you make sure you're not doing this all the time? I think your calendaring shows us how you're doing that. She also asked, how are you capturing impact to know you're doing the right things? Sometimes you can get sucked into sharing, connecting. If your network is big, how do you gauge impact of your activities?
Again, in general, I would just stick with my top 10 people. They are my attention, but doesn't mean that I don't give anybody outside of the top 10 anything. I do, and I care. But if I'm running out of time, guess what? These are the top 10 people. Remember, some of them, they have given me and helped me to today's level. It's about time to focus on them if you haven't. So I'm not sure if I have answered your question.
I think the point about starting small, right, and keeping and not getting overwhelmed is a really good tip, right? And then being really thoughtful about what that person might want to achieve, and then that kind of working back, right? Someone else wanted to know, do you use a CRM to kind of track this activity? And if so, which one?
I use a spreadsheet, but I do have a CRM. But the spreadsheet, I update it every month, and it's easy. At the beginning, I even make it this small, like a 3x5 card. It's in my purse. If you have a very small purse, I can't help you. But I do need reading glasses, so I need a 3x5 card. So if I put a 1 to next to that name, that means I've done something, right? A 1, right? So at the end of the month, you just add up. 4 is my minimum. I could do 5, I could do 6, I could do 12, but I'm asking myself to do 4 and once a week.
Excellent. So Alice, I want to make sure you get through all of your slides. We have about 10 minutes or so for questions. We also are curious, for everyone we have here on the line, we put a question in the chat box. If there are people in your organization that you look up to and you have not reached out to them, why, right? Like, let's put some of our resistance or maybe our doubt in the chat box. And then Alice, I'll send it back over to you to kind of wrap up before we move to Q&A.
Awesome. So I have just a couple of 3 slides and then I'm done. So again, it's 30 minutes every week. It's discipline. Second language, me, an immigrant, can do that. Discipline works. It's 1.25% of your work week, 30 minutes. You cannot afford not to use this effectively. All right, so keep going. So this is my process. I use my last name brilliantly. Target your effort, that's T. A, allocate your time. N, nurture the relationship. And G, give generously without thinking of receiving anything back. TANG. And then last but not least, I think this is a joyful moment that I walk in a speaking opportunity at a conference right before COVID-19. I walk in, there is this 10-feet tall banner with my name, my face, and also my favorite quote from the author of The Go-Giver, Bob Burg. He says, all things equal, people are going to do business with and refer people to the people they know, they like, and they trust. So if you haven't got to know the person, get to know them. Get them to like you by paying it forward, and then honor your promise and do it every week. Now you gain credibility and trust. Those people will love you. The opportunity arises, they will do whatever it takes to help you to be successful. Thank you.
So as many of our attendees are talking about being fearful of taking other people's time. And I think I was there too. That is probably what I spent 20 years worrying about. And I want to, when I heard Alice tell this story or share her process with me the first time, it dawned on me that I always thought of networking as bugging someone else, as asking them for something. And when Alice shared her process with me, I realized that her process is giving somebody something. And I immediately thought, if we could just reframe the way we think about networking as individuals, as women, as professionals, as men, it totally changes our mind frame around it. And I think Alice did that for herself. And I was so excited to think about the possibility of us all being able to do it as well. Because what you end with at the end of the year is not 10 people that you've taken from, but 10 people that you've built a pretty good bond with and share a lot of information, a lot of friendship with.
That's right. In my longer workshop, I talk about an emotional account. So you can draw against an account, a bank account, emotional bank account. You can draw against a zero balance bank account, right? So when you deposit over time, you have a good balance. Not every single time you're thinking about, well, when can I draw to the account? But sometimes things happen. I mean, a lot of us are lucky enough that we are keeping our current business or current job, and some of us might have a different journey. Maybe they were just laid off and let go, and they need to look for something else.
Alice, I'd like to open up the mic now for people to ask their own questions of you. And while we're doing that, I want to frame up one of the questions that's come up in the chat box. And that is, what if I feel I have nothing to give? What advice would you give? What if we feel we really don't have anything to offer these people that we want to network with?
You know what? The best offer is listening. The best offer is listening. So sometimes I'm making some assumption on this because I don't know the context, but let's pretend that is my department director that we just talked about, that example. I asked them to have a 30 minutes conversation with me, no strings attached. So this person really show up, and you feel that I'm so small, I have nothing to give you. They show up for a reason. If it's not for you, it's for them. Once upon a time, there is a very, very good person who showed up in my life. He is the number one managed money financial advisor, has the most managed money in my broker dealer. At the end of my 15 minutes conversation, asking him about the process, I asked, I know I cannot give you anything back. You know, he said, Alice, in order to pay me back, just succeed. Today, when I'm talking about it, I still have emotion in my head. People want to give. People want to give. Don't make assumption that they don't. The fact that they show up, the fact that they reply an email, they're there already with you. Take one more step.
People are really enjoying that tip, Alice, that listening and holding space for people, no matter what your level of experience or position power in an organization, can be really powerful. And I think there's also maybe some thoughts that when you are thinking about your center of influence, what are your unique gifts, right? Because we all have them. And if you get really clear on them, you'll be able to think about how can you serve your center of influence. And if you think you don't know, ask your best friend, because they will tell you what your unique gifts are.
Yeah.
Do you remember the science guy, Phil Nye? Is that him? He said, everybody you ever meet with will know something you don't. Think about that.
Yeah.
Gina just also popped into the chat and said, you know, the power of curiosity, staying curious and having good questions is a great way to get people engaged and make them feel that their time with you is well spent and of value. And that's another great one.
Yes, and my good friend Tracy Hooper, whom you all, some of you know about her because she spoke at WCL, she said, make the person across the table the most important person in the room.
Alice, earlier on, I saw a question about kind of intimidation, and that sometimes the people you want to network with feel a little bit intimidating. Do you have any recommendations for how you get over that?
I'm not somebody who deal with intimidation really well. Just like the example, I thought Shu is super, super big. She doesn't have time for me, truthfully. But I guess
I don't think I like that.
and probably the first time we meet, you didn't really smile like this. That intimidated me. No, I'm just kidding. But the fact is, I walk regardless. So I say, just walk one step towards this person regardless.
I like that. Walk one step toward them.
And you may find out totally different. Just like me, I just felt that, well, actually she's big, but she's also warm. She's open to somebody who's shorter than 5, who speaks English. So it's like, this really surprised me.
Any other questions? We have 1 minute left before we wrap up our lunch with Alice Tang. Anybody have any last things that we need to present to her and gain that knowledge before we close things down here? Okay. Well, it looks as if we've answered a lot of questions here today, Alice. I want to thank you all for having lunch with us. And we look forward to seeing you again on Tuesdays and Thursdays, with the exception of next week, where we'll be having lunch on Monday. But Alice, thank you so much. We will post this video on YouTube. And Alice, if people want to find you, can they reach you at, let's see, askalice@gmail.com?
Yes, for my speaking opportunity, which is separate from my daytime job. Yes, it's a different email.
Great.
Yes.
All right. But they can find you here, and I'm sure that you will steer them to the right direction. Thank you again, everybody. We'll see you in the future. And we hope that sooner rather than later, we'll be able to see you in real life. But until then, it's been nice having lunch with you. Oh, yes, Alice.
One more thing, I have a downloadable workbook, small workbook, talking about all these that our members who joined us can download. So later on, just share with them the link, please.
And so you are going to send the link to me and I will send it out to them. Is that how they'll be able to get that?
Yes.
Okay.
Either me or Tiffany will do that.
All right. Fantastic. Anything else? Kate?
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And if there are additional topics or speakers you'd like to consider, email us or pop onto our social, and we'd love to hear from you. We're here to support.
All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.
Stay strong out there.
Thank you, Sue.
For her, an exponential income. So today,